for some reason I knew I didn't like corporate. I didn't want to be in the corporate world. I always felt like I wanted to do something of my own, be like my own boss. So I was trying to explore different things. And then eventually when one of my buddies was like, you're always talking about real estate. You're always, checking it out online, going to open houses, doing all this stuff. Like, he's like, why don't you just focus on getting your license? So I did. But yeah, up until, from 99, because I graduated college in 99. So I was about 3.5 years at Fidelity, then a couple of years at another company, and then tried some odds and ends things, and then finally just got into it. But it's
you know what that shows, though? It shows you got to do it. You got to go with your gut too, right? And it's like if you try different things and you're not loving that, you got to find the thing that you do love.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this was an awesome episode, a lot of fun. I have my good friend Bill Burke on, works over at Keller Williams. We talked about his rebranding, all the new things he's doing. Check out the episode. It's a great one. You'll have a lot of fun. All right, here we are on another episode of The Mic Drop, powered by Premier Mortgage Lending. I've got my good friend Bill Burke of the BurkeLord Real Estate Group. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Mike. I'm glad to be here.
Good. So, Bill, we've known each other a long time. I've worked together quite a bit over the years, and I think it's pretty awesome that you did a rebranding of you and Jen's, what do you call it, team?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Team?
We're BurkeLord team with Keller Williams. So.
Yep. Awesome. I'm going to make you go back further. I know you want to talk about your rebranding and all sorts of other cool stuff you're doing, which I do too. But tell me about how you even got into real estate. 'Cause it seems like nobody in real estate or the mortgage side does this on purpose.
Yeah. So I actually got into it in 2008.
Okay.
Right when the market crashed. And I was just telling this to Ed earlier. I always had an interest in it, just always keeping track of real estate. And at one point, one of my friends was like, you should just look at getting your license and get into it. So I did, and got into it in 2008. And then I had everybody saying to me, why'd you get into real estate in the worst time possible? Right? And I'm like, I really don't think it's that bad. I think, it's going to make me learn the business and work it. Because at that time, a lot of realtors were getting out of the business,
right?
From having the good markets in 05, 6, 7. So I got into 08 with Keller Williams, been with them the whole time, and just really worked at it. Tried learning the business. Well, I did learn the business. I was in all the time, every day, just building it up. And, like yourself, you have to make relationships and build and maintain those relationships. And each year just got better and better and better. And I got to a point, it was probably around 2015, where I was extremely busy and I couldn't keep up. So that's actually when I met Jen, and I brought Jen on as an assistant at the time.
Yep. Where'd you meet her?
So she was already at the Keller Williams office. Her brother-in-law had a team set up there.
Okay.
So she was their admin for that team. And talking with him one day at the office, he was like, if you want, you can, see if Jen can help you too, and, do some of the transaction management stuff for you. So I met with Jen, talked with her. She seemed great, knowledgeable with all the transactions. So I said, yeah, if you want to come on, we can try it out on a transaction by transaction basis, which worked well. We clicked really well. And then over time, her brother-in-law's team, the two partners, they ended up dissolving the team.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, we're doing pretty well. We work well together. So I offered the opportunity to come on like full time with me and just be pretty much my right hand.
Yeah.
So that was, that was 2015, right, Jen? I believe. Yeah, 2015. Sorry, she doesn't want to be on camera.
That's all right. We can talk to her. She can just nod. Say yes or no.
So we were going, working together doing that. And last year, 2021, we decided, let's really focus on the team and growing it and building it. And so we did a rebrand.
Yep.
And came up with the BurkeLord real estate team.
Well, I think it's awesome. I like the way it looks. I think everyone else does too. You were telling me before on Facebook, you posted the sweatshirts. You had a bunch of people reaching out to you. That's what you got to do. You got to reinvent yourselves at times.
Yeah, we did. And we hired a company to do the logo for us. And when we did that, we met with them. We kind of gave him some ideas of what we were looking for. And then he did his thing, came back to us, and he had, I think it was 5 different versions of the logo that he created.
Yep.
So Jen and I were like, both of us were leaning towards one in particular. And there was another one we were kind of on the fence about. And so we were like, well, why don't we get a small group of people, past clients, current clients, friends, family. So we did. We reached out to them. We told them, we're not telling people yet that we're launching this, but you're part of a small elite group to get some feedback, because the way I looked at it is, you get us one time to make a good impression. So we wanted the logo to look good. So we were like, let's see what everybody's feedback is and which one is the most popular. And this is the one that they came back with, which is the one that I actually liked the most.
That's one you guys liked the most.
I'm pretty sure Jen was on board with this one too, but this was the one I was really leaning toward, and I'm pretty sure she was too. The other one, it's funny because the other one that we were kind of on the fence with, there were a couple people that said that one, but 99% of them were for this one. So,
how many people did you have in that little focus group?
What did we send it out to? About 20, Jen? 25? Probably 20, 25. And it was a mixture of, like I said, past clients, current clients that we told we were going to be doing this because we knew we were going to be launching it when we were in the middle of those transactions.
Yep.
And then some family and some close friends. And we asked them not to say anything, but to just give us some feedback. So.
Yeah, I think it's really smart, because what you're doing by inviting other people, clients, past clients, peers, family, friends, you're getting them involved in the process.
Yep.
So then they feel like they're a part of your thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was that something that you guys just came up with on your own, or did you read somewhere to do that? Someone give you that idea?
We were sitting home, actually. I remember we were sitting on the couch one night just talking, and her and I were going over the different versions of the logo, and I'm like, I really like this one, but I'm kind of leaning toward that one. What do you think? And I actually think it was Jen that said, why don't we reach out and ask a couple of people? So we put, a list together of who we want to reach out to, and we did that, and it was great. It actually helped us out tremendously, and knowing that the majority of everybody picked that one,
kind of gives you like reassurance that that's the one to go with.
Yeah,
I like that. So, well, you told me you gave me like 8 years, probably in like 2 minutes. So I'm bringing you back.
Okay.
We're going back, right? Because the other thing that I like to talk to people about whenever I do this podcast is how they got to the point they're at today, right? And the reason for that is I want other people to see that it's possible, right?
Yep.
And to see what, they can do, the actions they can take, the steps they can take along the way to be successful, right? Like if you weren't successful, you wouldn't be rebranding, your team and doing what you're doing now, right? And so let's take it back to 2008. First of all, what were you doing before 2008?
So before 2008, right out of college, I ended up going to work at Fidelity Investments.
Okay, who doesn't?
So I know it's great right after school. It is a great start, and I'm actually glad I did it because I knew nothing about retirement accounts and whatnot. So I was in the 401k department, handling that for different clients. It was a great experience, but it was one of those things that it's first of all it's corporate and it's structured with their rules and everything, and we were tied to phones all day long in a cube, 8 to 10 hours a day, and it burns you out.
Burns you out, but doesn't that give you a really strong work ethic from the beginning?
It does. I actually, in some of their training, like, because they did a really good training program with just even like customer service stuff, so it helped me with where I am today too. So I did that for a few years. From there, I ended up leaving and going to a different company. Was in management, and I just, for some reason, I knew I didn't like corporate. I didn't want to be in the corporate world. I always felt like I wanted to do something of my own, be like my own boss. So I was trying to explore different things, and then eventually, when one of my buddies was like, you're always talking about real estate. You're always, checking it out online, going to open houses, doing all this stuff. Like, he's like, why don't you just focus on getting your license? So I did. But yeah, up until, from 99, because I graduated college in 99. So I was about 3.5 years at Fidelity, then a couple of years at another company, and then tried some odds and ends things, and then finally just got into it. But it's
you know what that shows, though? It shows you got to do it. You got to go with your gut too, right? And it's like if you try different things and you're not loving that, you got to find the thing that you do love, right? And find what makes you happy. Because that corporate culture, that was never for me either. Like working for somebody else.
And my goal when I was in college, because at the time I had 2 degrees. I had a business degree and I had a degree in recreation management. So, and people ask me, well, what the heck is recreation management? It's a couple of different things you could get into. I mean, I could have been a town recreation director.
Okay.
Or I could have gotten into like working in a resort, but that's also partly hospitality. But at the time, my dad and my uncle had built one of the first indoor sports facilities, like with the indoor soccer.
Okay.
Right. So back in the early 90s, they built it. Now you see them everywhere.
Right.
So it was a sports facility for indoor soccer, floor hockey, roller hockey. We had all the high schools, lacrosse, field hockey teams in the off seasons would play there. So it was an awesome business.
I don't know. Where was that?
That was in Hooksett.
Okay.
So my plan was go to college. I have these 2 degrees. I'm going to take over the business. By the time I got out of school, there was so much competition because more and more places opened. They had an opportunity to sell. They had somebody that wanted to buy and they didn't sell it to somebody that kept the sports business.
Oh, no.
They just wanted that property and the location.
Wanted the building.
And the guy at the time just basically offered him. He's like, just give your number and
I'll
sell.
take it.
And I was like, ugh, because I really wanted to take that and grow it. But it is what it is. But that was initially what I was looking at getting into.
So that's why you had the recreation.
So then, yes. Yep. So that's why I did that. But then, they sold that. So I'm like, all right, well, Fidelity's hiring. But they're always hiring. That's where a lot of people right out of college go is to like a company like them. And they're, a great company and whatnot. So yeah, I went that route. And like I said, I did it for a few years over there and just, it's not that I didn't like the company. I don't think I liked
just wasn't your thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all right. It's funny though, a lot of the people that I talk to that end up being really successful on their own, they start in a situation like that, right? Yeah. And you're working for some big company, you're on the phones, right? Actually more people of like our age group. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because now there's not as much of that type of like call center atmosphere as we had back then.
Right.
And that's just a grind. That's a grind. They're teaching you on the phone sales training. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're hammering the phone. How many calls can you make in a day?
It's funny though because I'm still connected with a couple of friends that I started out day one in training over there, and now they're like in upper management, and I'm like, oh, they stuck it out, and now they're in a good spot. But and they all said to me, they're like, as soon as you're off the phones, it's great. Yeah. But I'm like, I couldn't take it anymore.
No, it's different for everybody. Because I have a couple buddies that have been in a corporate world forever, similar to that. Now way up high, right? Yeah. But what they tell me they do on a daily basis, I just wouldn't want to do that. It's not for me.
Yeah. I know. I wanted to be my own boss pretty much and just build my own thing. So even though I got into real estate and I'm with Keller Williams, it's still, I'm under that brokerage, but they let us run our business how we want to. Their model is as long as you're legal and ethical, they give us tools and resources, but they let us run our business the way we want to run it. So I don't have somebody, telling me, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Again, as long as we're following the New Hampshire real estate laws and we're ethical and whatnot. So it's kind of, it was kind of a great mix because it was being able to do my own thing, but still have some resources with them backing me on it. So
that's awesome. Right. So you jumped into real estate. We're 2008, 9-ish. Yeah. Nobody's buying anything. Right. It's funny. In my meeting this morning, we have a meeting every Wednesday morning, and I was talking to these guys here because everybody that works here in the business, aside from Jeff Trudell, has not seen a market that's super challenging like this one. Yeah. Me and Jeff went through 08, 09, and 2010.
Yeah, Jeff was in it back then. I met Jeff a while back. So.
Yeah, and so I was laughing. I'm like, none of these guys have been through a time when nobody's buying anything, right? But there's a light at the end of that tunnel, and like you said, and I like the way you're thinking about it. You were thinking about it back then. Okay, there's an opportunity to learn. Yeah. And it's only going to get better than that.
And it did. Every single year went up for me because, I did. I jumped into it. I jumped into it full time, and I tell people, because I have people all the time coming to me saying, I want to get into real estate and this and that, but I might try it part time. And I'm like, honestly, you got to get into it full time. So I jumped into it, and I pretty much lived on my savings for the first year and a half till I could make a go of it. But I was in the office every day. I was going and doing the trainings that they were providing, and then I was just getting out there and doing the stuff. And everybody's like, "Well, how did you get your business. And they're like, friends and family going with you? And I'm like, well, I was at the age where all my friends at that time were starting to buy houses. So I'm like, oh, great, I got a whole book of business right here. I had probably 15 friends buy houses that year. Not one of them would use me. They're like, you're too new. Really new. Yeah, you're too new, this and that. So nobody would, now they all come to me.
Right.
But they wouldn't. So I learned some strategies just from some of the trainings at Keller Williams. And, I was getting listings and I was getting buyers. And back then I remember working with buyers. It was like, that was back when a lot of the foreclosures were hitting too. Yeah. 09, 10. I felt like all I was doing was showing foreclosures. And
you probably were.
Yeah, in the middle of the winter, freezing because there's no electricity on.
No electricity.
The driveways aren't plowed. You're trucking through snow. And I joke now because it's like back then I couldn't get out of that like $150,000 to $180,000 price point. You know, because I was working with a lot of first time buyers, and back then that was like the first time price point.
That's 400 now.
Yeah. So I was getting a lot of buyers just from just different strategies I was doing. I was networking too. I was going to networking events, but I would get listings just from calling on expired listings. So like houses that were listed, they didn't sell because they show up in the MLS as expired. And that was one of the trainings that I had learned early on. So every single morning I'd set a routine and I'd start calling on expired listings. And a lot of the times, you get no, or, it didn't sell the first time. Why am I going to list with you? And I tried really hard to just get the appointment in person. And then usually when I got the appointment, I'd get the listing.
Bill, that's what makes people successful, is having a plan and executing on it.
Yeah, so you had to do that. The other big thing too, and where I see a lot of people in this business struggle, is because you are doing your own thing, you set your own schedule. You have to really focus and set like a schedule and a routine. Mm-hmm. That's key. And it took me a little bit to get that because brand new, I had all this time in the world, and I'd have friends being like, "Hey, let's go do this." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I can do that. I have time." But then eventually, I was like, "No, I have to focus here because I'm not going to go anywhere with this business if I don't." So that is a big thing. You got to treat it still like almost like it was my 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's what I tell the loan officers here. Same idea, right? Because we do the same thing in that way. Is you don't necessarily have to be anywhere.
No,
but you also don't need to choose to have your dentist appointment be at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
It could be at 8 or 4:30. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can set up your days differently so that you're still efficient during the day.
Right.
9 to 5. Like I'm in the office every day, 8:30, 9-ish to 6-ish.
So that was me going in to the office all the time. I would, I'd get up early every day. I was getting up at 5 o'clock, have my coffee, go to the gym, come home, shower, change, and I'd be in the office by 8. It was a lot of times I'd be like the second or third one in the office. It was usually one of the admin staff that was there early, and then one of the other agents who was always in early, and me. And I'm like, this is great because it's quiet. And then it's like 9:30 rolls around. You see the typical realtor time frame where
9:30.
They come
Stop lying. It's 11.
Yeah, I'm like,
none of you realtors are even awake until 10:30.
But it would be funny because me and the other guy that are in there, I'm like, we're in here, it's quiet, we can focus, and then all of a sudden, then it's like you get the chaos around that time. But yeah, so I got in that routine and just and the good thing with doing that too is, I was, like I said, I was calling on the expireds. Mm-hmm. Eventually, it got to the point that like other realtors started doing that too. I remember when I used to call on them, I'd get the appointment. Then it got to a point I'd call and they'd be like, "Oh, you're the third agent today to call us." If I call today, they're going to be like, "You're like the 12th Keller Williams agent to call me."
Oh yeah, well so, now everybody's doing anything they can.
But and I actually got one of my first listings. This was funny. I thought I was calling an expired listing, and I leave a message on their answering machine, and it turns out it was the house across the street. Somehow I got the other phone number. So they call me back, and they're like, "Oh, Bill, we got your voicemail. It's funny that you should call because we were just talking about how we need to get in touch with a realtor and sell our house, but you mentioned something about our listing expiring, and it was never on the market." So, but I got the appointment, I got the listing, and I sold it.
Never mind, forget that. Yeah. But that's awesome.
That was one of my very first expired listing listings that I got was by calling the wrong number.
Yeah, but you know what that is? That's not just because you called the wrong number. No. That's activity, right? Activity produces results. And sometimes you can be putting forth a ton of activity over here, and then like something good will happen on this side. You know what I mean? Yep. It's like, it's all about the activity and the energy that you're putting out there, then it's going to start coming back to you. It's almost like the world says you deserve something because you're hustling. Yeah. You know, and that's why that happened for you. You know, like I was talking to a young guy, Keller Williams guy, not too long ago, who was telling me that he's like 3 or 4 years into the business, that he really blew up his business. And he's done well the last couple of years, was through expired and for sale by owners.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but because you know what it is, so many people know this. Who's going to do it? Who's going to go in every day at 8 o'clock and sit down?
No, and if it's the person I'm thinking of, he was in every day early too. I know who. Yeah. And that's the Great. I remember when he was when he first started. I remember that, and I remember having a conversation with him because he asked me how I started, and I told him, and I remember saying to him, "This is great. You're in here early every day. You're hustling." I think he got into it when he was like 18. Yeah. Right. And
he just said he's been in the business like 5 years. He's like 23.
Yeah, but he was getting appointments, and it was he was in every day, and he was like putting in the effort, and he did phenomenal his first year, and he's doing great. Yeah, he's doing great. So
same thing you did. That's what I'm saying. The activity.
It's just and then you'll get some agents that they'll get their license, get into it, do some of the training, and then realize this is a lot of work to get going, and they just want to be handed stuff. And
people think it's going to be easy.
No, it's not an easy business. But with like any business, whether it's real estate, mortgages, if you have a painting company, you have to work at it, and you have to get your name out there, and you have to build and maintain relationships, and
and constantly be trying to improve on them. Like relationships, what you're doing, your skills, and I think. Even in the 4 or 5 years that we've known each other, maybe even longer now, I don't know. I've seen you like evolve and do more and do different things and change the way you're approaching things, and that's what you have to do.
So that's what we try. I've always tried to stay kind of ahead of the next thing because, like take social media, for example. Yeah. When I got into the business in 2008, social media was there. It was still kind of new, and I was like, how can I use this for my business? So I would sit and read books about it. I was going on webinars. I was attending in-person seminars, learning from some of the social media gurus out there. And so I utilized the social media, and then I actually started teaching classes at the office for agents.
Did you really?
Yeah. I used to do that back, that was probably somewhere between 2012 and 13, 14.
Still brand new back then.
Yeah, I was teaching classes and helping all the agents get their Facebook business pages set up. And it's funny because I actually, back in 2008, I actually set up the business page for the National Association of Realtors and the local boards. And then I reached out to them. I'm like, do you guys want the admin access? Like, here you go. Like,
smart.
So they got it set up. But I really wanted to figure out the newest way to stay on top. And then I learned about doing the ads and everything on Facebook, and so I used to do a lot of strategies on social media that over time people were watching me, and then they were starting to do it, and I'm like, oh, now everybody's doing this. I got to find something else that's gonna work without being flooded. Like,
I see a theme there, right?
Yeah,
the expireds. Social media, right? It's getting a jump on things before everyone else does.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, I always have to look ahead to see. I don't want to.
Have you gotten a lot of business from social media over the years?
Over the years, I did. Yes. Yeah. I did. We still do, but I mean, Facebook has changed their stuff. It used to be great when we used to do ads. Now, with the special categories, like we have to be careful when we're putting stuff. But I used to be able to go in and put ads, and I could target certain demographics, and I could make it so that other real estate brokers and real estate agents wouldn't see my ads, so I'm not wasting the money.
Yeah, you can get very specific on it.
Yeah, you can't do that now. But yeah, to answer your question, over the years, I had tremendous results from social media.
I remember early on when I haven't thought about this in a long time until we're having this conversation. Probably, maybe still even later than that, 14, 15, maybe 13, 14, when I first started like being more active on social media with business stuff. Like if somebody I went to high school with needed a mortgage, they'd call me right away.
Yeah.
Like it was like when there was any connection at all, they'd go right to you.
Yeah.
Like I was doing tons of refinances, purchases from people that I hadn't talked to in 15, 20 years just because of Facebook. But now it's like it's so flooded, right? That it's not the same like response rate like that because everybody can get everything instantly and everyone they know does real estate and finance and this, that, and the other thing. Yep. But it's funny, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. Yeah. So what's the next thing? What's coming now, Bill? What do we got? Well, don't tell me. Actually, don't tell me.
No, it is funny though what you say with Facebook. I've actually had random people that didn't know me that would research realtors and they'd call me and they're like, yeah, we want to meet with you. I'd meet with them. And they said, yeah, we've met with a couple of other agents. And they'd tell me who the agents are. Yeah. These agents are like top producing. I was like, oh, wow. And they'd go with me and they said, it's because we've seen your social media presence and what you do. And like, we feel like that's where stuff is heading. So I would get it over other agents just because of that. So
well, and that goes to show you, right? You always need to be open to change.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of in our business in particular, for the longest time, the average age of a real estate agent was like 58, and the average age of a loan officer was like 55. Yeah. I remember when I first got into the business, I was about 25. Yeah, 25, 26. I was like the youngest ever. Now there's so many young agents and loan officers coming in.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
See.
Yeah,
because you see a lot of like
and we're seeing it in our office too. It's a lot of young guys and girls getting into it, and I'm like, these guys, they're gonna do great. I think it. They bring a whole new energy to it and everything, and it's great.
Yeah, because the older people, right? They didn't have any of this technology at all.
No,
us mid-40s, we're kind of like. We were like in the middle of it. Yeah. Where the technology came out, like, how old were you got your first cell phone? I was probably 21.
I was
22.
I had a, I'll make you laugh. I had a bag phone.
Buddy of mine had one of those.
Yeah. I was probably 19 when I had that.
Oh, wow. You were cool. I didn't have one of those. I had a pager.
I had a pager briefly. But yeah, I went from the bag phone to the flip phone, like the Motorola StarTech was awesome. I actually missed that phone.
I had my first one I can remember, I can picture it. It was the Nokia.
Oh, yeah.
That was like about this big. It looked like a small, like cordless phone at home. Yeah. And it was just the buttons.
Like the Zach Morris phone? Remember the
No, not quite that one. Not that big one. Not that huge one, but like this big. So like,
no, I know the one.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Instead of like Nokia, mine was blue. Yeah. I remember. But like we were right in the middle. So now the young people coming in, they've had this technology their whole lives.
Yeah. Well, even when I got into real estate, I actually had a flip phone, and then it was like BlackBerry was like the up and coming thing, and I was like, oh, everybody's getting these BlackBerries, so I got a BlackBerry, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing. I can have email on my phone.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And now look at where we are.
Yeah, I remember the first time because I had a BlackBerry, and then I had a. No, I didn't have the BlackBerry. I had the Palm Pilot.
Oh, the Palm, yeah,
right. Yeah. I had that thing, and I was like, oh my god! I'm like, you can pull up Google on this thing. Yeah. I'm like, this thing's sick. That was probably like 2008, 9-ish, right? But the technology now,
it's crazy.
With the younger people coming in, and even, we're not old. So like guys like us, we can research it and figure it all out, right? They're like so ahead of like, what's the next thing that's going to help me be able to generate business?
They are. And even with the social media, they're on the new platforms, like we didn't, when we started, there was Facebook and then Twitter came along and, eventually Instagram, but they're on TikTok,
right?
Snapchat.
Are you on TikTok though?
We set up a TikTok account. I have one thing I posted on there.
Did you do any dancing? Any lip syncing?
No. Jen and I have a skit that we do. No.
Yeah.
No, but the kids keep telling us that we should really focus on TikTok. Like Jen's daughter's like, you guys need to be on there.
Oh yeah.
We see realtor stuff all the time, and I've actually been reading up on some of the top agents in other parts of the country that are. They're killing it.
There's some people crushing
They're killing it with TikTok.
So I was super resistant to it for a long time. Yeah. My middle son does all like the dancing, lip syncing, all that shit, right? And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a try, but I'm not dancing and lip syncing. Yeah. I'm not going to be good at that. So Ed said, all right, I have an idea. Let's find a $1 million listing. Just grab whatever one there is and say, what does it cost to on a monthly basis to buy $1 million home? So I stood in front of the green screen over there. I went through, I broke it all down, and he just had the listing scrolling behind me. It was just some random listing in Salem.
Yeah.
Over on Stanwood, right, Ed?
Yeah.
Yep, over on Stanwood. 50,000 views on TikTok. 50,000 views. It got like 1,000 likes. There's like hundreds of comments that still come through now, and this is like a couple months ago.
Wow.
So, but then we've been trying to like replicate that, and we can't figure out what it was that got us 50,000 views. But I'm telling you, I've been doing a lot of research on it too. I certainly don't have it figured out, but the amount of exposure you can get from TikTok.
From TikTok, and some of the other top producing realtors that I've researched throughout the country, they use YouTube. You know, they're doing phenomenal with YouTube. There's a Keller Williams agent down in Florida, and he does an unbelievable amount of business just from all of his YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a friend of ours moved to Florida last year, and he had already gone down and like met this kid before he had talked to me. So I was like, "Oh, who are you using?" And he tells me, and I go, "Oh, how'd you get in touch with him?" He goes, "I Googled him, and he had all these videos on YouTube, and he goes, I really like this guy. He knew what he was talking about. His videos were great. I felt like he was up on things." So
that's it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. YouTube, we haven't done a lot on YouTube, but we've done some. Actually, all of your videos are on YouTube. But I posted, I did one about, was it self-employed income? Is that the one? Yeah. Self-employed income. I was sitting at a desk maybe a year and a half ago, right?
You and Jeff, you guys were just teaching along.
Oh, yeah. Me and Jeff were just teaching a class. He recorded it, put it up on YouTube. I get comments on it like once a week. It's got like, how many views was that? Like, like 50,000. I'm like, we didn't even do anything. You know what I mean? So I think the problem that a lot of us have that are, professionals, been doing this for a long time, we don't think about the basic stuff that people need to know, like the super basic stuff. If you started doing like very basic videos, you get a ton of
very basic stuff with just informational stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I mean, every realtor out there is putting, just sold another house, just this. It's like the informational stuff is what's gonna, and if you make it fun, that's what's gonna grab some people on there.
Yeah, the brag posts have never been a thing that I've done. I
mean, we put those posts on too when we congratulate our sellers or our buyers on their new purchase. And
I feel like that's different.
But I see agents that will just constantly, just sold another one, just sold this for $1 million. Like, and it's just
look at my volume this month. I'm like,
I mean, here and there maybe just a mixture of stuff, but
I like to give more value, give more information.
Well, that's where you're gonna get people reaching out to you, you know, because I mean, there's 1,000 realtors posting their listings, but not everybody's out there giving that informational value. So
you want to hear something? You said 1,000, right? You want to hear something interesting? I was at a meeting up at the Concord Board of Realtors, the Capital Region Board of Realtors, beginning of last week, and a guy was there from the Licensing Commission. Guess how many licensees there are in the state of New Hampshire right now?
I forget now.
I was shocked.
It's going to be 15,000, 16,000.
It was like 11,500, right? But it's a huge number.
Yeah.
And like there was like 3,000 or 4,000 added in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, the last couple of years, because like I said, we've even had a bunch of people reach out to us saying, "Oh, it looks like you guys have a fun business and it's great and it's booming. You guys must be doing great." And I'm like, come shadow with us for a couple of weeks before you decide to get into this and see what it's all about. And
you got to be ready.
Yeah. I tell everybody, it's not like what you see on the TV shows.
Right.
They don't show you the behind the scenes stuff.
Fun. Hey, look, 3 houses, pick one.
It doesn't work like that.
That's not the game we play. It's show 50 houses to maybe find one they like. Hopefully they get an offer, and it's not easy.
And then that was a brutal market for buyers this past couple of years. It's just brutal. I mean, even for sellers, it was stressful, because I mean, you get a seller and you get 25 offers on your house, and it's like they're like, well, how do we know which one to go with? And I'm sitting down going over them all and all the aspects of the offer. I mean, you're right. It was stressful for the sellers, for the buyers, and the realtors.
Everybody involved.
And people all the time saying to Jen and I, "Oh, you guys must love it right now." And we're like, "No, actually, it's
no." I think that's the one thing that although these higher rates are not ideal, right? Yeah. They're not ideal. It was done to slow some of that down. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it's doing just that.
It's doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then eventually the rates will dial back. It'll level everything off and it'll be okay. But like the times of, going in and seeing a house for 10 minutes and needing to spend your offer that afternoon.
I mean, that was crazy right there because they were scheduling. You could only do a 15-minute time slot, and it's like, how are you supposed to make a decision on a $600,000, $800,000 purchase in 15 minutes? But
you can't.
You can't.
But
that's what was.
Think about it before that. What would you do? Say you went out with a couple and you were showing them a house. How would that process typically go?
Well, we meet with them, sit down with them and see, what their list of needs and wants are. And we explain the process to them and then take them out. And I tell everybody, we're going to look at some houses. Sometimes you might find your house at the first one we look at. If it checks all your boxes, great. Other times we might be looking at a dozen homes, and then before this crazy market, you could go back and do second showings.
That's what I was going to say.
You could do a second showing because now if they narrowed it down to like 2 houses and we go back and look at both the houses, a lot of times the second showing would either rule one in or rule one out, So you couldn't do that in this fast market. It's like, let alone do your home inspection and all that. It was just
It
was
wild,
crazy.
It was wild. I'm glad that's over.
Crazy, yeah. It just got out of control.
Right, it did. It wasn't fair to anybody involved.
No, and we hear stories. I talk to other realtors all the time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, when my buyer waived their home inspection, and now they're saying they needed the new septic, and there's this with the house and that." And I'm like, "Oh, all these buyers that just jumped in there."
I think a lot of buyer's remorse we're seeing right now. You know what I mean? And that's okay. You know what I mean? It's like, then they'll figure it out. And when the market settles down, maybe sell that house and buy something else. But that's how you live and learn through challenging times.
But I mean,
challenging markets.
we needed the shift to happen a little bit, and it's, some people think, oh, this is awful. And no, it's just an adjustment. And, you learn to work the shifting market as an agent. You learn how to, now educate the clients with the way things are happening. And right now, big thing is really trying to educate sellers that they've basically missed the boat on that market, and that the market is changing, and that you're not gonna list the house and get 10 offers and everybody waiving home inspections right now. It's not going to happen.
But that'll catch up eventually, right? If we've got a lot of agents out there like you guys, you, Jen, other professionals that we know that are able to get that message across well to the sellers, then they'll kind of get back into reality a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of educating that goes on. I mean, no matter what market we're in, you're always educating the buyer or the seller. But this one, it's educating these sellers that it's changing, it's shifting, and whatnot. And some people you're just not going to get through to. Some sellers still think they're going to get what they want.
They won't.
Yeah.
Some of it was crazy though. The other night I was, cause I'm always looking at like houses up north and stuff. I just like to see what things are selling for. And I saw this house that popped up in Jackson, New Hampshire, right? And it was listed at $998. I'm like, wow, it seems like a lot for that house. So I pulled up what it sold for last, right? In 2017, it sold for $629, right? $629 to $9. Oh, and there was just a $102,000 price drop. So they started at 1.1.
Yeah.
Almost double what it sold for not even 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And last year, they probably could have gotten that.
They may have, It's
wild.
It is crazy.
But it's good to see some correction. You know what I mean?
It is. It's going to bring it back to a little bit more normal.
And that's where the higher rates aren't going to have as much of an impact either, right? So if these rates settle back down to the 5s or something and the values come down a little bit, it kind of balances out.
Yeah, and I mean, right now with buyers buying, you hear from the buyers, well, the rates are high and I don't want to buy with a high rate. And I'm like, listen, if you find the house you love, you can eventually refinance it.
Right.
That's not hard to do. Refinance it.
But I do understand.
But it does because
I understand they get nervous about that.
You do get nervous.
Well, when are the rates going to drop? I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, none of us know.
I wish I could tell you. I mean, I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere if I could tell you. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But all right, so now I feel like we're ready to talk about BurkeLord Real Estate.
Okay.
Now that we've got the last, 15 years of your life. So Jen comes on full time with you in 2017. You guys have been working together for 5 years then, right? Full time.
Yeah. From 15 up till 21 is when we did the rebrand, but she was
okay.
So it's been 7 years now? Yeah, 7 years.
Time flies, huh?
Yeah, and it's funny because I'll tell the quick story of Jen and I. I hired her as an admin. Worked well. We had a strictly professional working relationship.
Yep.
Over time, became really good friends. We became like best friends, and then it just naturally progressed into a relationship. So I mean, we're business partners, but we're also
life partners.
So
isn't that nice?
Yeah. So, it works. It works.
No, it's great.
It's nice when both people understand the business because it can be tough being in this business being with a significant other that's not in the business.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, she gets it, I get it. And working together, living together, having it all intertwined, it works for us. I know it can't work for everybody. And some people are like, I could never do that with my spouse, but it works. So
yeah,
it's good. I honestly, I couldn't be happier with the whole thing.
That's
you
great.
know, I just think that it all just came together and in general just also helped like boost business too, because I feel like I'm in a better place having a supportive partner both personally and professionally. And you know, we're in a good spot. But yeah, so it's
That's nice. I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. So
No, it really is.
that's our Lifetime movie version of
No, it really is nice though. It's like one, having, you know, your business partner be the person you trust more than anyone else in the world. You know what I mean? Nicole and I started this thing off together. I mean, she pretty much quit. But,
no, but I remember when you guys were
but it
built,
was us,
you know
what I mean?
it was always
working hard together all the time, and it's cool because you're in it together. You're working together. Do you guys ever have the I don't know if you want to call it challenge or a situation where you like just never stop talking about work?
I mean, we pretty much are always, because we're always in the middle of a transaction, and even if we're sitting at home, like trying to do something else, we're like, oh, did we get this done? Did we do that? You know, so it's always there. Yeah, we're always talking about work.
'Cause I remember I got to a point where I'm like, all right, after like 7, we're not talking about it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we'll take some time.
I might be doing shit on my phone, and you might be doing shit, but I'm not talking to you about it anymore.
No, I mean,
we need to stop time.
Yeah, we take time at different points and say, you know, let's just go, you and I, this is just you and I time to go and just spend and
sleeping.
not,
But especially like in real estate, right, on your side, it's really never ending.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
not.
people are calling you constantly. You're always doing things. If you're not working with clients, you're doing paperwork and, you know, putting deals together. So
yeah, I mean, could we rope that in a little bit and set a precedent with our clients saying, you know, after this time, but we don't. We like to provide the service.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It'd be good.
It's
you
like,
can't really do that.
Honestly, I mean, being able to do it anywhere, having the technology and the phones, it's like even if her and I take an afternoon and go golf, you know, they don't know we're golfing, but we can tend to it. You know, if we have to take 5 minutes to take a call or respond to emails, we're riding in the golf cart, you know.
And it's gotten a lot easier in that sense, right? That's one area where technology has been huge. I mean, when you're first in the business, right? You're not sending dot loop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
No, I mean, I remember when dot loop came around, and I was like, wow, this is great, because when I first started, it's funny you bring that up. When I first started, we used to have hard copies, ink. Mm-hmm. And it used to be a point where it was 4 copies, all ink, because you'd have, the realtor would have one, the buyers would have one, the seller would have one, the other realtor would have one. And I'm like, I have to have this signed 4 times. Like, then it got to the point that they're like, no, you can just make photocopies. Okay, great. But we're still going and doing that. And then dot loop comes around, and I'm like, this is awesome. You have the app on your phone. Send it off. Yeah.
You want to submit an offer? Here you go.
Yeah.
They sign it. Comes right back.
So I remember early on when dot loop was there, I had my iPad. I was out with a buyer. We were looking at a house in Nashua, and the husband was with me. The wife was still in Florida. So we're walking around looking at the house. He's like, I think this is the one. I want to put an offer on. He goes, let me FaceTime my wife. So I said, all right, why don't you do this? I'm going to type up everything on my iPad, take a couple minutes. You FaceTime her, give her the tour. So he did. I had everything ready to go right there, sent it to both of them. Click, click, click. I sent it off to the listing agent before we ever left the showing. Wow. It was just like this
that.
This is great.
Like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's new in what's upcoming for you guys? BurkeLord Real Estate. What are you doing?
I mean, we've focused on the brand. We've been doing a lot of just getting the name out there with the new name. Doing a lot of sponsorships too. You know, like, and I know you do a lot of that. Like
a lot of events, things like that.
Yeah, we do events, and we sponsor some of the town sports. You know, the kids,
which is great.
We our hometown, we sponsor the baseball and softball and the soccer. So which is great. And it's great just to be involved, and we go to those games and stuff too. So it's nice. And we just when we moved to Chester, we pretty much planted our roots. So then you get involved with the community and you're doing stuff. So you meet so many people. You know, and next we're just looking at, we focused on really fine tuning all of our systems. And now we're looking at being able to grow the team.
Are you going to grow the team with volume, with agents? What are your thoughts?
Both, hopefully, you know, volume. But I mean, we can only do so much volume, the two of us. Just like when it was just me, I could only do so much. And then Jen came on and helped. But yeah, we want to bring on, you know, some agents to the team. We'll probably, like, Jen handles a lot of the admin stuff still and a lot of the transaction management. So at some point, I'd like to bring on a couple of other admins, like one that's focusing just on managing our database. That's a good idea. You know, because that's a big part. Your business the database is a big part of that, right? And you get caught up in all the day-to-day stuff that sometimes you're not focusing. So if we can have one person just focusing on that, managing that, and then another admin managing like all the stuff for the listings or whatever, and Jen overseeing it all, just, you know, so building our admin staff and then bringing on agents to help out, you know, whether it's buyer agents or showing agents, just, you know, because there's plenty of times where we might have, you know, a handful of buyers we're working with and they all can only go out on a Saturday or Sunday. And now I'm like, all right, how am I going to get here to there and to that one? So it's like, you know,
can only do so much.
Yeah, we need help. So, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to have our service slack. You know, I want to give everybody the good service. So by doing that, I think we need to bring people on and help out and do that. So that's
so
what our
we need
goal.
2 admins.
Yeah.
How many agents? 10 agents.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, that's the goal though. For 2023, we're looking at growing the team.
Awesome.
So, yeah, and we've been talking with some other bigger teams in the office just because we want to get a feel. Everybody runs their teams differently, you know, and we're trying to get some feedback on how each team's doing it and how they grew. And so I've been meeting with some of the agents from those teams and just getting some ideas and feedback and whatnot. So, but yeah, that's where we want to go with it. And, you know, as far as all of the marketing that we're doing, we created the brand and for some reason it's attracting people that just want to, like, instead of spending our money, like paying for ads somewhere, we put it into like these hoodies.
Yeah. I love them.
People are asking us like, how can I get a hoodie? And I'm like, I'll give it to you. Here you go. Because to me, it's a walking billboard.
Absolutely. Why blue?
Well, the blue, we actually, so our actual colors, it's a white background with the maroon and gray letters, right? But then when I was looking at some sweatshirts one point and I'm like, you know, we do have the logo in all white too. So why don't we switch it up and offer different colors? So we do actually have the hoodies in a bunch of different colors.
Oh, yeah?
This is our most popular.
I like it.
When we first ordered them, we had our white hoodies that we were giving out to people.
Yep.
But then people were like, oh, it's nice and it shows you colors, but white gets dirty.
It gets dirty. Yeah.
So I know it's not in our color scheme, but I don't know, we adopted this color and it just took off. People love it. But
no, I like it a lot. And that's why I didn't know if there was a reason behind
I just liked the color when I saw
I like the way it looks.
I liked the color and with the white logo it really popped. So I'm like, you know, let's go with these. But we have people constantly like how can I get
some hats here too? Let's see them.
Yeah, so we got the hats being made. So we got you guys have hats too. So that's
we do.
That's that one. And then we got so the guy, my buddy who owns a screen printing and embroidery business does these for us.
Oh, nice.
So then he was telling me, he's like, hey, some of the popular modern stuff now is with the leather patches. And he goes, what if we take your BL?
I like that.
Just put the BL on the leather patch.
BL? I like it.
So
not to be confused with Bud Light.
Well, it's funny because with the brand and with the logo and everything, the name, for the past year, I've been working with trademark attorneys.
Oh, really?
So I had everything federally trademarked.
Yeah.
So the name BurkeLord, and then every version of the logo. So, you know, we have that version. We have the circular badge, which is all of our social media icons.
Yep.
So we have them all federally trademarked, which it was quite a process.
Oh, it is.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've gone through it. But
no, I haven't. I probably should.
And part of why we did it is, well, at first Jen was like, I don't think we need to do it. But then I realized there's another Bill Burke and another Jennifer Lord in real estate, local. So I'm like, God forbid they ever team up.
Right.
But
what are the odds of that?
That probably wouldn't happen. But I was just like, but I wanted to be able to protect it so that if we did,
just in case.
if we did build the business, and I set everything up so that if at one point we wanted to go on our own and just break away from KW, we have it all set and it's all protected.
Right, it's all in your name. It's all protected.
Yep.
Smart.
So
Good
we
thinking.
did that. Yeah, so that's, but it's been catching on. I mean, it's just, I don't know. People said they like the look of the logo.
Well, I like it. Hopefully we can help you hype it up a little bit more. Richardson, we use the same brand hat.
Yeah, that's so he was telling me this is the popular hat.
Yeah.
This is what I personally like, the old school rounded. I'm
Bill.
I like
that's like mid-90s.
but that's like using a BlackBerry. I know
it's flat brim hats.
I know.
Right? No, I love them. Well, I think everything you guys is doing is absolutely awesome. I think it's great. I think it's awesome that you guys came up with a name together like that. And I think you just keep crushing it, Bill. It's like from the beginning, everything that you said that you've done are things that probably when you were doing them, you're like, oh, I'm just going through the act, just doing this, doing the motions, putting in the work. But that's how you get to this point today when you've got your own brand and you're talking about maybe someday breaking off on your own and doing things like this, right? It takes a special person to come up with these ideas and act on them, right? Like so many people have the ideas and don't act on them.
No, I mean, you got to have that vision and you got to stay focused. And I mean, I joke with Jen. I'm like, Jen, the sweatshirts are so popular. I'm like, we're starting the BurkeLord clothing line. She rolls her eyes. I'm like,
you should.
I'm like, no, that's the next step to the BurkeLord empire. No,
BurkeLord empire. I like it. Well, Bill, this is awesome. I feel like we could sit here and shoot the breeze all day long. So, where can people find you?
You can visit the website, BurkeLordRealestate.com.
Yep.
You can reach out to me directly at 548-5315 or email us at info@BurkeLord.com.
Okay. How about social media?
Social media, we got them all out there. It's at BurkeLord Real Estate on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yep. And we'll be looking for your newest TikTok.
Look for the TikTok.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was fun.